Cool. So let's talk about this the vision for the healthcare clinic of the future. Um, what one of the questions that I had with that is like I love how succinct your healthcare clinic of the future is. That one liner, it grabs you, or at least it grabs me, and I love what it's saying. When you envision it, do you envision it as like solving everything? Like, do you envision it as, hey, we solve heart disease, obesity, we solve getting you out of pain, we solve the mental health issue, or do you see that as a specific niche within sort of the healthcare clinic of the future?
A great question. The answer to that question is that it's yes, we would solve everything for specific people, right? So when I say that this is the healthcare clinic of the future, I want to be clear to everybody out there. This is not to replace the healthcare clinic of the current. There is an absolute necessary place for doctors, medical doctors, surgeons, chiropractors, physical therapists, massage therapists. All of these people serve an extremely vital role that cannot be and will not be replaced by gyms or coaches. What I am describing is the void that exists because the scope of the doctor, the scope of the medical professional is what it is. And the scope of the coach today is what it is. The scope of one of them needs to expand. And I don't believe that it should be the doctor. And I believe that the scope of the coach already is capable of taking on more responsibility. It's not that they're not allowed, it's that they don't have the education to, and they don't have the incentive to get the education because there isn't a reasonable level of certainty that there is going to be financial freedom on the other side of the investment until now. We are now doing this for coaches and doing this for gyms in a way that does give them financial certainty on the backside of investing in their education so that they can serve a market that's underserved.
Where does active life come in? And then I'd like to ask you where you think active life still doesn't really solve it. So from my perspective, it seems like active life is really good at the assessment side and then the application of that, and then as well as the sales side and the money mindset side for coaches. What else do you see that active life brings to the table? And then where do you think that active life could use some help, and I don't mean need some help, but like a coach that's coming to you could fill their gaps in elsewhere to have these skill sets to help in multiple ways with clients?
Educationally, it's our ambition that nobody has to go anywhere else to fill their skill set. We right now, if you're a coach, we have too many courses available to the point that we just hired full-time marketing to be able to clarify our message and coordinate our offerings so that a coach can understand how we can help them, so that a gym owner can understand how we can help them. And I think that'll be a vital piece for us, but we're also adding courses as we go. We need to be able to teach coaches everything that they need to know, because if anyone else was teaching them well enough, we wouldn't be necessary. And I don't believe that anybody is. I think that OPEX does a phenomenal job of teaching coaches energy systems and exercise science without getting an exercise science degree. I don't think that we need to fill that void. I think that they're doing a great job. From what I've seen, Training ThinkTech is doing a great job with that as well. It's more about amplifying the reach. Everything else, I believe we are necessary for.
And what are some of those specific areas that you guys are wanting to go into?
So, for example, we need to get more specific with post-surgical rehab fitness, right? So what does it mean when somebody walks into your gym who has 4 anchors in their shoulder? You don't know, right? Like, what's an anchor? What is the difference between 4 and 2? What's the difference between the type of therapy that they probably had post-surgery if they had 4 anchors versus 2 anchors versus 1 anchor versus no anchors? These are things that trainers need to be able to understand if they're going to be able to help people who come in with this kind of stuff. That's where we're already really close, because our immersion course gets you right to the edge of that, and then we don't teach that. So we're going to start teaching that in orthopedic considerations course. basic anatomy and physiology for coaches is a course that we're coming out with, biomechanics, anatomy and physiology, excuse me, so that every coach can understand what is a saddle joint as compared to a ball and socket joint, as compared to a hinge joint. What is the difference between the frontal plane, the transverse plane, the sagittal plane? How can something happen in two planes at the same time? Right? These are things that right now, I don't believe enough coaches know. And because of it, they don't understand how to address things that occur in one plane but not the other two, or how it's different when something happens around a ball and socket joint compared to a hinge joint. I think that those things are aggressively vacant in the coaching education ecosphere. Those are the things that we're already, those are wheelhouse for us.
Mm-hmm.
There are other things that we are adapting ourselves to, bringing in expertise and working on developing on our own that we believe are necessary. Like, for example, what does it mean if somebody walks into your gym and they tell you, I have multiple sclerosis and I want to get in great shape? What do you need to know about that person? What does it mean about someone who walks into the gym and says, I have lupus and I'd like to get in great shape? What if they have cystic fibrosis? What if they have something as simple as arthritis? What if they have diabetes? And I know that we speak about the idea that gyms can already help these people, and gyms can. The problem is I don't believe that gyms are equipped to speak to these people and to attract these people, because the idea of program for the best and scale for the rest does not work for these people.
Mm-hmm.
They need to know that where they're going is a place that understands their condition, that understands the warning signs, that the workout that they're doing is actually worsening their condition, that understands how to bring somebody out of an inflammatory bout or potentially a blood sugar drop. All of those kinds of things we're not educating coaches on how to do. So how are we really going to be the elegant solution to chronic disease if we're not educating coaches on what chronic diseases are? There's a major gap there. And I don't believe that the same business, the same entity is going to help somebody go from being a healthy, active adult to being an extremely fit, active adult. I don't think that same business is going to help somebody who is dealing with an inflammatory organic disease and help them get to being the healthiest version of themselves with that disease. It's a totally different skill set, and it requires a totally different set of education. Both are necessary.
So this, and we could talk more about your new gym, but your vision for your gym and a lot of the gyms you work with, is it to get them to more of that base level fitness, or are you trying to do both, or are you trying to focus on just one?
We're going to do both. They're going to get regular people healthier. But the difference is, I believe that most people, once they've crossed the age of 35 or 40 years old, they have something. It doesn't have to be a disease. They could have a shoulder that bothers them from high school sports. They could have back pain that they've been dealing with since, their new job at the factory. They could be dealing with neck pain since they herniated their disc at the CrossFit gym. And I'm not saying CrossFit gyms herniate discs, right? Like, just an example. You do things long enough, and eventually your body does start to wear down, and it requires a different level of attention. We want to service people who are tired of working out around it, trying to avoid it, resting and not getting results, feeling like they get hurt every time that they become more active, feel like they're too old for this, feel like they have to find new hobbies, feel like because of whatever disease they have, they're not able to get back to an active lifestyle. Those are the people who I believe are telling themselves stories that are untrue, but that are corroborated by other people, trainers, industry, that doesn't know those stories are untrue. And so they compound the facts in their mind and build this false narrative that leads us to only helping people who are just on the brink of being really healthy already.
Thank you guys for listening to this clip of the 7 Figure Box Show. If you enjoyed this video, please do us a huge favor and smash the like button below and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to see this full episode, head to the link in our description where you can see that full episode. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.